literates, I'm brittwriterly and welcome back to my rebellious reading report. We're gonna hop right in. I do not have my coffee today. I already drank it all and my eyes are still feeling a little bleary because it is 9:05 on a Sunday night and I'm trying to be in bed by 10. Feels like a fool's errand to even want that, but we press on towards the mark. So, I figured I might as well just hop in for a second and do this video before I take off my cute outfit. So anyway, Burlington's Coat Factory, this cute little number, $11. Anyway, this was also $11. Whatever, you two can be fabulous on a budget. Anyway, moving on. Part 2 of the Winter Nights review. Winter Nights is a series by Liz Maverick. There's 3 out. I'm convinced there's going to be a 4th one because the series follows for a friend group that starts off with 4 people and people get added as relationships grow. So to recap, not to recap the other book because if you haven't watched part 1, I will try to remember to link that right up here. Watch that first. Otherwise you're going to get spoilers and I don't apologize for that. Watch the part 1. And I do put a spoiler alert in part 1, so if you want to know my thoughts on it, but you want to read it and you don't want any spoilers, there is a part where I say, spoiler, spoiler, spoiler! And then you can just stop it right there, come back later. It's like halfway through, so you get plenty before then. Okay, so now we're in book 2 and 3. I'm going to try to make this video both of them. I will try. We'll see. I think the first one took longer because when I had channel announcements to make, and also because I had to set up the world. Now you know the world. You know that 8 Nights is a series following 4 friends: Elliot, Sarah, Rachel, and Tamara. You know that Tamara is a super selfless person who literally gave Rachel, who's her bestie, her boyfriend. Broke up with her boyfriend and set him, Oz, up with Rachel because she recognized that her and Oz were just chilling because they're like the hottest people in the room, but she was like, that's for kids, we're not in love, you were perfect for Rachel. And then she found out that Rachel was in love with her because she read her diary. Basically, Rachel left her diary on the table one day where she journaled all her feelings for Oz. Tamara saw that and was like, "Ee, and I don't even let him in like that." So she set about this scheme of how she was going to break up with Oz and set up a scenario where Rachel would be able to spend time with him and they'd hopefully confess their feelings to each other, which is what happened eventually after Tamara's explicit blessing, which I love that. So that's 8 Winter Nights. Yeah, that's 8 Winter Nights, book 1. Book 2 is Bright Winter Lights. So in 8 Winter Lights, we do get to see a little bit of Sarah and Elliot, who were the other half of the friend group, and they're funny. We get the feeling that Elliot and Sarah are very like on the same page. So whereas Rachel and Tamara are besties, Elliot and Sarah are kind of like besties like that. They haven't been as friends for as long as Rachel and Tamara, but they are like, they're really close to each other. Tamara and Rachel are really close to each other, and together they're all really close. But that's sort of how the friend group cookie crumbles, and they're all cool with that. Because they also have like relationships with each other across that, and I love seeing that you know that like these two are really close and these two are really close, but you also get to see how they reach across those lines and like super care about each other, love each other, know each other really, really well, so that they're all a close friend group regardless of knowing that, oh, we have particular history. They're committed to each other as a friend group, and I really, really love that. So we got to see a little bit of Tamara and of Sarah and Elliot as they were sort of watching Rachel and Oz, because they were like, you see what's going on with them too? And they're roommates, so you're also like, I'm sure that they're talking about this foolishness when they go home, like, can you believe what Tamara did? How long do you think it's going to be until Oz and Rachel did it? That's the feeling that you get about them, and it's super cute. They're funny. In Bright Winter Lights, you find out that like around the time that 8 Winter Nights was ending, Elliot started dropping major hints to Sarah that he was in love with her. And she was like, "Eee, I don't want that. I don't. Can you stop? Stop. I don't want that." And so it got awkward because she lives with him, and like Tamara and Rachel go to the Hanukkah party, the Bosch's family Hanukkah party every year. Elliot and Sarah go together, not as a romantic couple, but as like friends. And so Sarah doesn't feel the way about Elliot that Elliot feels about her. It's awkward because she doesn't want to hurt him, but she can't reciprocate his feelings. And so there's this tension building in their relationship. I'm going to read the summary of Bright Winter Lights because that will make this go faster. And then I'll be able to just share my thoughts, and I'll have a higher chance of getting through 2 books for the price of 1 video. Let's do. So, Bright Winter Lights. Light up your heart this holiday season as 2 old flames get a second chance at love. Who are these old flames? Billionaire businessman Adam Bosch, who is the son of the Bosch family, decides to bring a date to the family Hanukkah party this year in hopes of getting a break from his mother's matchmaking. Trouble is, his busy schedule hasn't left much room for romance. Since he's always remained cordial with his high school sweetheart, Sarah Schwartz, he gets back in touch and asks her to be his +1. And if he's being honest, it's a good excuse to see her again since he's never quite forgotten her. Sarah's a successful designer with a close circle of friends and a thriving business. So what if her love life is non-existent? When Adam resurfaces and asks her to pose as his date after all these years, she thinks it's a ridiculous idea. But he's charming, persuasive, and too cute to resist. Before long, they rediscover the spark that first brought them together. Will their holiday turn into lasting love? So this is another short book. It's 3.5 hours. I really think I'm beginning to appreciate short books because you still get a little bit of angst, but I'm not really an angst type of chick. Like, I don't need a bunch. Enough to let me know you care is enough for me. I don't need 3 chapters of like the entire chapter's angst. Sprinkle it in. You can even sprinkle it in liberally. Wow, look at this perspective. My hand looks so huge. Anyway, you can sprinkle it in. This is better proportioned. You can sprinkle it in liberally, but don't give me a sheet cake of angst. Give me heavy seasoning of angst, right? Give me angst in conversation with friends as y'all are shopping for the party. Not the whole thing is a monologue of you angsting out in your bedroom after you done said something stupid to this man to chase him off and now you hate yourself for it. Please, please. That's 8-hour book behavior. And 3.5-hour books, they ain't got time for that. They are angsting as they do. They're multitasking. I need multitasking angst. That's what I want. That's what I want out of my books. So this is what you get with Liz Maverick in this series. And I found my everything. Anyway, I like that book. I like that model of multitasking kind of angst. So, what I have already told y'all I give this series a 5 out of 5. So we see way more of Sarah and Adam obviously than we do Elliot. Elliot comes in, and again, this is the first one I read of this year. I read them out of order, which kind of doesn't matter. It didn't matter. It didn't spoil. Well, it did. I knew already that Rachel and Oz were together. I didn't know that was such a difficult achievement from the first book, but I knew that they were together. And I didn't really feel a way about knowing that they were going to end up together because it's a romance. All these are HEAs. So you already know the end from the beginning, and I'm cool with that. So what I loved about Bright Winter Lights, I loved Adam and Rachel's chemistry. They're cute in a different way than Oz and Rachel. Oz and Rachel are cute in that, like, he just adores everything she does. He adores the kind of person that she is. And actually and ironically, I feel like we get more information about Rachel as a person in books that are not about her, like in non-8 Winter Nights books, than we do in 8 Winter Nights. 8 Winter Nights, her personality is kind of angsting about Oz and her loyalty to Tamara. That's really what it is. This is the shortest book in the series. So because I read that last, I actually already knew things about Rachel that didn't even come up in 8 Winter Nights. So I guess if I'd read it in order, I would have been learning more and more about Rachel as I went on, which is fine. But Rachel is a planner. She's a huge planner. She wants everything to go exactly right. She's even a little bit like obsessive with it. There's no hint of that I saw in 8 Winter Nights. I learned that from the third book. on a night like this. So that's interesting to me. In Bright Winter Lights, what I really like was getting to learn more about the friends, getting to know a lot about the friends, and getting to see not Rachel, so many names. There's 5 by this point. 5 names to remember. I really like to see Adam and Sarah, because unlike Oz and Rachel, who just like really have been in love with each other for a solid year and been around each other, so their love is like well rehearsed, even if it's not appropriately named as romantic love as opposed to friendship love on Oz's end. Rachel knew she was in love with him romantically. Adam and Sarah have that kind of banter where it's like easy friendship love that they're both just like rediscovering, because they haven't been able to be around each other for an entire year and get all this stuff. There's this huge backstory about how they fell out, because they all grew up together. The friend group that is now 4 as adults used to be 5 as kids. They all used to be the friendship that is now 4 used to be 5, not counting Oz, where Oz was Adam used to be. They all used to be like 5 amigos. And when the Bosch family got into money, they moved uptown, and his parents kind of told him to cut ties with his old friends. And it was kind of you can't take your old friends with you, they'll be jealous, da-da-da type of thing. And maybe it was alluded, I think, that it was like, oh, maybe they'd had a little bit of like static with the mom and dad had some like weirdness with their friends, and they were telling their kids like, yeah, see, you can't do this. And also they were new to money, so they were just trying to figure out how to keep it. And so that's how the 5 of them fell out. So Sarah and Adam knew that they liked each other, but they were kids, so they were kind of too young to act on it. And then he was out of her life. And they were out of each other's life for decades. And then he comes back into her life to ask her for this favor. And she is trying to reconcile her anger with him with her attraction to him. And so I really, really like this kind of enemies to lovers, because it's honest and well marinated. You bumping into someone at the office and them saying something like snarky to you, and then you figuring out, oh, that's your new boss, that's the new boss's son, you have to work with them on a project, and then y'all fall in love. That's not enemies to lovers. Y'all aren't really enemies, y'all just got off on the wrong foot. Sarah was like, you're like full on, I don't mess with you because of how you treated me when we were younger. So this is a really, really honest, again, well marinated. It's been going on for years. It's not no 5-minute tiff. It's years, decades, since they were like 12, and now they're in their early 30s, I think. So decades long beef. That's a real enemies to lovers. I like that. Give me some real substantive. And so we get to see Sarah doing a really honest dance between acknowledging kind of her feelings for Adam, and also being like, I need to hold him accountable to his behavior. He's calling in this favor because of a pinky promise they had from when they were 12, and she's like, I'm gonna honor the pinky promise thing, but you gotta answer for how you treated me. And she makes them have that conversation. They have it a couple of times because they realize, oh, we remember this in 2 different ways. He remembers, I came back after I had been gone for a few months, and y'all closed the friend group up and just like completely glossed over my space in it and acted like you didn't know me and want me around when I came back to visit after we moved. That's how he remembers it. Y'all like sort of moved on without me real quick. They remember it as, you're saying it was only 6 months, but to us it was 6 whole months where you didn't talk to us at all. Then you came back in your designer fancy clothes and wanted us to think you were a big deal after you like blew us off, and we weren't for that. So they reconcile their 2 different rememberings of it, make space for both of those things to be true, and then are like, all right, well, let's let that inform how we move together, how we move forward now, and deal with the now, deal with this bet, right? So I really appreciate the honest friends to lovers rep. I really appreciate that they have really cute banter that's a lot of like theater jokes, right? So Oz and Rachel's banter is just kind of like, you like this person stuff. Like it's just making much of a person. Like Rachel will put on a cardigan and Oz is like, oh, the way she puts on a cardigan, she can wear a cardigan. She works in HR. Wow, I would make up reasons to go to HR every day. Stuff like that, where it's just like you're just mooning over this person, with which is fine. With and likewise with Rachel, it was very like physical. Like, wow, this guy is super hot. Wow, he's so focused. What, like, it's that kind of stuff. With Sarah and Adam, they have theater jokes. They have just they have great situational comedy, right? Oz and Rachel, they and their attraction for each other was the banter. Sarah and Adam, their banter was very much like the things that they had in common. So as they're bantering with each other, we get to know more about them. As a writer, I really liked us getting to know more about Adam and Sarah by them doing this quick get to know you again 3-minute quiz, because his mom like was like, oh, I'm on my way over, and Sarah was like, can you stop it? And he was like, no, my mom says she's coming. So they had like 15 minutes to do a getting to re-know you quiz, and then them asking these rapid fire questions. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Do you have any new allergies? How do you feel about this, that, the third? By them doing that to prep for this mother, which they're kind of treating as like might turn into an impromptu inquisition for her to find Sarah in Adam's apartment. You get to know a lot about them, and it didn't feel info dumpy or unnatural. It was a really cute and surprising, but like believable way to like get to know more about both of them. So I like the just ease of the book, that we are getting to know these two characters because of the crazy situation they find themselves in. And their banter even reveals more about them. And as a theater kid, I'm predisposed to like them because of their theatricality. So it was all just very cool. Was there a third act breakup? Yes, there was, but it made perfect sense to me. It was one of those you give me the wink, I'll give you the nod type things where, and it was also just like a miscommunication where he was rushing to get the deal, to get the favor accomplished, and she read that as, you're trying to get rid of me again. And he was like, no, I want the favor to be over so we can start really dating. So that was the third act breakup. And again, it lasted for less than 10 minutes. So I was like, all right, that's the least annoying version of miscommunication trope I have ever seen. I'll rock with it. Right? So those are the things I liked about it. Which is a lot. There's a lot to like about it. What I was like, not that there's anything that I straight up didn't like, but what I was like, about, and this will lead me into the second book, the third book of the series. What I was like about was Elliot. I like Elliot. And the way that he was just sort of like the kicked dog throughout all of it, I was like, oh, this is pitiful. Where he meets Adam and he's like, you're staying with him? She was, because she moved out from living with Elliot because she was like, this is uncomfortable, blah, 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 blah. I think it just needs to give us both some space. And so she bought her own apartment, which was a lemon. And it's Christmas time or holiday time. And so her landlord is like traveling. He didn't announce that he was going to be traveling. So it's winter in New York. Her apartment has no heating. So it's unlivable. She cannot live there. And so Adam is like, will you doing me a huge favor, moving with me until after the Hanukkah party at least? And then by then hopefully you'll be able to get in contact with your landlord and figure something out. And so again, all this stuff hinges on the Hanukkah party. So Elliot hears this and they're like, he's like, you're living with him? Is this a favor or is this for real? Like, what's the truth? And there's this line in Adam and Sarah's head where they're like, there is a favor in play, and also old feelings are resurfacing. And Adam is way more welcoming of those feelings than Sarah is. Sarah is like, nope, can't do this, can't do this, can't do this. She eventually gives in it and owns those feelings, but even then, she's like, I do feel these things for him, but I'm not sure if he feels them for me. We go back to the give me the wink or give me the nod thing. So, I didn't really, not that I didn't like, but it was just so sad to see how Elliot was reacting to seeing Adam and Sarah together, because they needed it to look official. So they're taking pictures on social media of Adam hanging out with her friend group, who used to be Adam's friend group also. So all of them are having feelings about Adam coming back. So again, I like how the entire group is involved in the story. And it's just, it was just sad to see Elliot have to visually reckon with the fact that this person who is your best friend and who also you are in deep years long love with, you're having to see her make kissy faces with someone else, and you know her well enough to know that she really likes him. And so, and there's a part where at the end when she runs off for their brief third act breakup where Elliot is like, you better not let her go. She likes you. Don't know if you needed me to tell you that, but she does. So fight for her because she's worth it. And having to tell this guy who is in the position that you want to be in, not to give up, to go after her, that shows the maturity and the love that Elliot has. But it's also just like, oh, you really feel for Elliot because you're like, dang, you're such a good guy, but she doesn't like you like that. And so it's just hard to see him have to be the bigger person to help Sarah move into something that will like foreclose any hopes he had of being with her. That was the only part of it. Watching him see her and Adam at this thing they do called Thieving Elvis. It started in 8 Winter Nights, and this is the second annual Thieving Elvis. It's basically like Secret Santa. It's their version of Secret Santa. And Adam comes to the thing, and it's just like, dang, you know how Elliot feels about you, and you had to bring Adam to Thieving Elvis for what exactly? Like, even if you want to introduce him to your friends, you had to bring him to Thieving Elvis. Things like that where I was like, Sarah, it's a little inconsiderate for you to bring this man here. Have your feelings about that, let me know in the comments. But things like that where it's like you're exposing Elliot to Adam again and again, and then asking Elliot not only to forgive Adam for how he treated all of y'all when you were younger, but to be okay with who he is in your life. You have every right to not like Elliot. That's not even a question in my mind. But like pinning emotionally Elliot, pinning your comfort visibly, so like making Elliot, not even trying to hide from Elliot that you care very much that he likes Adam and wanting him to be okay with it. Like, that's, he don't have to like that man. You like him, and you already know what you liking him is doing to Elliot. So like, don't try to make him forgive Adam for decades old beef and then have this new complication of, so he's the one you like. That's just a lot. This is a lot to me. Again, not necessarily that I don't like the book for that kind of thing. It was just like, Sarah, I know you're kind of all over the place right now, but let's still try. And she did. She was very aware of Elliot, and Elliot was very mature. You could tell he didn't like what he was hearing about Adam and Sarah and whether it was fake and, oh, it's fake, but y'all are really living it. Like, he didn't like it, but he didn't explode. He was just very like, I will have no expression. That's the best I can do. And Sarah was like, I know that's the best he can do. I'm okay with it. But also I know that part of the reason why he was like keeping himself so in check is because he cares about Sarah and didn't want to make a scene and make her feel more guilty or carry any weight for not liking Elliot and being with Adam in front of Elliot. I hate that Elliot had to experience that. But I will say Sarah handled it better than I've seen other love triangles handle it, where the girl is just completely insensitive to the other guy when the other guy is her friend. You don't have to like him, but pretend you care about his feelings as a friend. You know you're hurting him. There was way less of that than I've seen in other versions of this kind of triangle. So I was sad for Elliot, but it didn't get out of hand. I thought that I was going to be able to make Bright Winter Lights and On a Night Like Tonight one video. That ain't gonna happen. It'd be too long. I'll spare y'all and say we'll do a part 3. Fine. I tried. So let me know, out of Adam, out of Adam and Sarah, and then out of Oz and Rachel, which one of these couples is your favorite? Who's your favorite? Between The current two, I think Adam and Sarah are my favorite. I hate that Elliot is suffering. But as far as like, I'm a banter girl. And really, Oz and Rachel didn't really have banter. They had chemistry. It's not the same thing. It's fine, but it's not the same thing. So their chemistry, I need banter. Adam and Sarah had chemistry and banter, and it was theater themed. So and Rachel, Adam and Sarah are my favorite couple thus far, but I can already tell you that I am predisposed to like Elliot because he's in pain. And so, not that I like a guy in pain, but I want to see him bounce back and have someone who values him, because who I love seeing people be chosen, and I love seeing them experience that, especially if it's foreign to them. And so I can tell you right now, if I had to rank them, I haven't even, like, without ranking them, without having like even done the review for Elliot and Cher's book, That's Who's Next. I can tell you that Elliot's gonna be my favorite. He just is. I'm cutting these videos into two, but I'm telling you now, when you see me next week or whenever in this same beautiful outfit, act surprised. Britt, what an outfit. Why, thank you, dear. Burlington's, $11. Be there. I can already tell you, Elliot and his girl are gonna be my favorite, because I want to see Elliot win, and his healing process is what won the book for me. Like, Elliot and his lady, number one. Adam and Sarah, number two. Rachel and Oz, number three. No hard feelings either way. Favorite character of all, Tamara. Love her. So that's me, but that's me. Between the two, Adam and Sarah, Rachel and Oz, which is your favorite and why? I hope I see you for part 3 of this Winter Night series review. It'll be sometime next week, so if your notifications are not turned on, turn them on. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, what you waiting for? Subscribe. I will see y'all next time. Drink water and mind your business. Bye.